Is Panama's Celestino Caballero, who just happens to fight in the same division as Marquez and Vasquez. A unification showdown between the freakishly tall Caballero and the winner of tonight's main event would be an intriguing prospect and definitely raises the stakes in our opening bout.
And the wild card to that master plan is Jorge Lacierva, already a 12-year veteran at 29. Now, he lost a 1999 title bid and has waited 8 years for a second chance. And tonight, he'll have it, but it is literally a tall order as he gives away 7 inches in height to Caballero. Lacierva may not be able to reach Caballero's head, but he can certainly go to his body. He's a good body puncher, and this is a good early attack. If he throws uppercuts from the outside, he could be hit with a very big punch. He's a terrific combination puncher, and activity freezes Caballero. A jab and right-hand combination starts this sequence. Then Lacierva immediately becomes a lefty by switching his lead foot. Then he unloads 2 more punches from that stance. This is the kind of varied and almost frenetic attack that he will need to be effective tonight. Caballero should fight tall, use his big advantage. When he bends in, he gets in trouble. Against shorter opponents, and they all are for him, his uppercut works well. Lacierva can be hit with a right hand, and Caballero's right is quick and potent. He can deliver this punch as a lead without a jab to precede it, which could work tonight. This is a better bet for him than wide hooks or uppercuts.
He's known as the baby-faced Punisher. Huge opportunity for Jorge Lacierva, returning to the world title stage in very colorful fashion, I might add, Al. But it's for the first time since '99 when he lost to Mark Too Sharp Johnson. He's worked very hard to get back here. Mexican-born, Atlanta-based, brings a wealth of experience despite being younger than the champ. Turned pro at 17, beat 2 former world champions, was a world-class amateur, 145 amateur bouts. This a clever, technically sound guy who could be a live underdog.
Well, that's for sure. And here on Showtime, we know something about underdogs winning. We had 2 win last month on our show. You know, one of the things that he thinks has enhanced his chances to pull the upset tonight is that for the first time ever, Steve, he went to training camp away from the everyday distractions of life. He went to Austin, Texas. He got focused, had 6 weeks of hard training. Says, I'm more ready for this fight than anyone I've ever had.
We'll see if it makes a difference. Lacierva said Caballero makes a lot of mistakes, and his first mistake was taking this fight. One of boxing's best kept secrets, long, lanky Celestino Caballero from Panama, looking to make a big splash on American soil. He can be dynamic, charismatic, unbeaten since '04, 7 straight wins, the last 3 inside the distance. Quality opposition, I might add. A resounding 3 knockdown title win in Thailand. He once beat current champion Ponce de Leon, and he comes off an impressive win over Ricardo Castillo, the brother of Jose Luis. And Al, if Caballero brings his A game, he could dramatically boost his career and recognition factor.
Absolutely. You know, he's in a weight division that struggles for attention, so this chance for visibility not lost on him. He's talked about it a lot leading up to this fight. His mission is simple tonight: win and do it in a way that convinces people he should fight the winner of our main event.
Well, he is supremely confident, and I'll tell you what, Al, this may be the co-feature, but these are 2 guys looking to steal the spotlight. Celestino Caballero already showing his dancing skills and showmanship.
And he is a well-known dancer in Panama, a singer and a dancer. He's got a rap group. This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's famous back in Panama, not only for being a boxing champion, but for being a professional entertainer. And he's giving us a little sample of that right here in Hidalgo, Texas. Let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. And the champion, though 2 years older, clearly has the physical leverage, a towering 5'11" to 7-inch height advantage. Plus, he's got 6 inches in reach. Caballero says he has no trouble making weight, walks around at 146, said it'll be about 135 tonight. And the notable unified rules for this world title fight: there's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt causes a fight to end within 4 rounds, it's a no decision. After 4 rounds, they go to the scorecards. And if a punch causes a cut and the injured fighter can't continue, he loses by TKO. So here at the Dodge Arena in Hidalgo, Texas, getting ready for Celestino Caballero and Jorge Lacierva for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Hidalgo, Texas, as we present a double world championship night of boxing, brought to you by Gary Shaw Productions, Saquon Ringside Promotions, and Showtime. Well, fans, our first world title attraction is also brought to you in association with Seminole Warriors Boxing. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor George Martinez. Introducing to you at this time are 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Alice, Texas, Dr. Ruben Garcia. From Las Cruces, New Mexico, Levi Martinez. And from Schertz, Texas, Rafael Ramos. And now presenting our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Lawrence Cole. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first, the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the colors of both the American and Mexican flags, red, white, blue, and green. Out of Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Mexico City, Distrito Federal, Mexico. He weighed in at 121 1/2 pounds. His record, 32 wins, 6 losses, and 6 draws, with 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He is ranked the number 13 world contender by the WBA. They call him Babyface Jorge Lacierva. His opponent across the ring, the defending world champion. On my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks with red and blue trim, hailing from Panama City, Panama. He weighed in at a ready 121 pounds with a record of 26 wins and 2 losses. He has 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making the 2nd defense of his title. Here is the WBA Super Bantamweight Champion of the World, introducing Celestino Caballero. Once again, a referee in charge, Lawrence Cole, now to give instructions.
All right, come on. Let's go, Caballero. All right, gentlemen, I went over your instructions earlier in the dressing room. I want you to obey my commands, protect yourself at all times, understood? Okay, right here, your cup's riding a little high, so this is a bajo, okay? All right, very good. Good luck. Buena suerte.
Of course, the thing that jumps right out, the difference in height, the rangy, nearly 6 feet tall. Celestino Caballero typically looking down at his opponent, no exception here. But can he capitalize on that, plus his long wingspan? And the pesky challenger, Jorge Lacierva, who is thinking upset, not a totally foreign concept on these airwaves, as Al pointed out before. We saw 2 belts change hands last month. Lawrence Cole, 3rd man of the ring. International flavor going on here. The crowd is into it. This has the ingredients of an entertaining affair. This one, Caballero probably the busier and stronger of the two, but Lacierva, good boxer, very athletic, and a solid chin. Big right cross there right out of the gate by the taller Caballero. A couple of things to look for early. Both are switch hitters, going from orthodox to southpaw, back to righty. And also watch for Lacierva's head. Sometimes lunges in with it, although he may need a step ladder unless Caballero, as Al pointed out in the keys, bends over or leans in, so to speak.
They both will start off as righties, and they will switch more in this fight than Larry Brown has switched jobs. We'll see it a lot.
Nice reference. A lot could depend on which Caballero shows up tonight. He's been known to predominantly box, and he's been known to go after it and be aggressive. Lacierva said he hopes it's the one who boxes, but he's ready for everything.
Well, oh my. I'll tell you what, we knew the left hook might get into the body from Lacierva. He started right out and got it to the head, so that's pretty impressive.
He's got some pop. 22 of his 32 wins by knockout. Celestino Caballero 26-2 with 18 knockouts, approaching the midway point of round one. Interesting start.
Well, Caballero, when he fights tall, makes himself a difficult target for a fighter this short. But when he fights like he is right now, bending in, kind of throwing wild punches, he can be hit.
And watch for the Lacierva uppercut. I know Caballero's got a good uppercut, but so does Lacierva, particularly if Caballero crouches. Caballero loves to go to the body, the hip, the side, debilitating shots, tries to wear you down, but he is definitely available to be hit. He is wild with his punches at times and sometimes clowns around, and he's getting tagged now by rights and lefts by Lacierva. Lacierva doing a fantastic job here in the opening round.
The key to all this is the fact that Lacierva is doing what we suggested he needed to do, and that is throw combinations.
Jorge Lacierva trying to chop down the tall tree. Under 30 seconds left in the first, scheduled for 12 for the WBA Super Bantamweight title. There's that right uppercut on the inside to the chin of Caballero. Lacierva connects. And a right hand up top by Lacierva. And there are a couple of illegal punches by Caballero. Good opening round for the challenger.
You have to cut the distance. You have to cut the distance. You are the champion. Do not permit that he shortens the distance. You come in with the uppercut. When he goes inside of you, you hit him with the uppercut. Second round is coming up. Breathe, breathe. How are you feeling?
Lacierva got off to a very good start. This left hook that pushed Caballero back, a perfect example of some of the punches he's able to get in. Caballero was a little more available target than one would have thought. And on the inside, Lacierva throwing his own uppercut. He's got a good uppercut. So does Caballero. That's a punch we might see from both fighters.
Our thanks to our translator, Felix de Jesus. We head into round two, scheduled for 12. Caballero very inconsistent defensively. Sometimes responsible, sometimes not. He can get careless and sloppy. Now he tries the jab. Lunging in for the right-left combination was Lacierva. Big left hand to the neck by Lacierva. That score. Lacierva. Beautiful work. Double left hooks by Lacierva. That got in. And now some roughhouse tactics by the champion Caballero, who at times, Al, will look to bend the rules.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, it's the activity of Lacierva that's doing it. That has a big impact on Caballero.
A low blow there by Lacierva, getting the caution from Lawrence Cole, who really has to take charge early. Caballero has been known to throw elbows, forearms, sometimes below the belt line. He pushes, holds. There's a good combination upstairs by Lacierva, who continues to hit pay dirt with that weapon. Caballero says, bring it on. But so far, he has had no answers for the much shorter Lacierva.
Now, against Cruz Carbajal a few fights ago, Lacierva was very active like this and very effective. It was when he stepped down to 118, though, and he said that had an impact on him. But about the 6th or 7th round, he just hit a wall and ran out of steam. He says he won't do that tonight because he's up at the weight he likes, 122. But it was the same kind of start he had against Carbajal.
He claimed it was because he had to lose weight fast and didn't eat and thus hit the wall. He also was cut on the eye in that particular fight. And you're right, he looked fantastic for 5 rounds, and then suddenly the fight turned. Now he pushes Caballero back with a nice right hand. Minute to go in round 2.
And this is reminiscent of that because he's very active, Lacierva, and you can see what an awkward, kind of wild fighter Caballero is. He's got power in that right hand, though, Caballero, so if he lands one, he can change this fight. There's one there.
Step back.
Off to a very interesting start here in this championship fight. Lacierva, who has not had a title fight in 8 years since he lost to Mark Two Shot Johnson. He just connected with a nice right hand to Caballero upstairs, and he continues to throw. Very busy, very active, high work rate for Lacierva.
He just switched momentarily to lefty. We haven't seen much of that yet from him or Caballero, but you can see he is starting to do a little of that, Lacierva.
Now Caballero continues to miss wildly. Now he's trying to go back to the basic jab, and then it tries to set up the right, but it was a grazing blow.
You got to keep moving. You got to move it. You're doing it good. You're doing it good. Why? Why? When he's jabbing you, why are you staying in there? The left one. The left one. The left and down. The left hand to the abs. The left hand to the abs.
Well, neither of these men is above some crazy technique, some wild shots, wild swinging, and we'll see a little bit of that as we go. There's the jab by Caballero. Both men missing with those punches, missing by 6 or 7 inches, but they will both do that, especially Caballero. I felt the breeze here, actually.
Yeah, and it is a very hot night. Temperature in the mid-90s here in Hidalgo, so we welcome it. There, a double left hook to the body by Lacierva, trained by his father, Nicandro. Lacierva 13-1-2, 10 knockouts since his father rejoined him from Mexico.
You know, Lawrence Cole, the referee here, is really going to need to be on top of this action because there's a lot of times there's awkward action and somebody could get hit on the back of the head or whatever. He's going to have to really pay attention to this.
Lacierva with a beautiful sequence, and he turned Caballero around with those shots.
Nice right hand on the inside by Lacierva.
But now he continues to get warnings from Lawrence Cole for hitting behind the head, and hears it from the crowd.
There's a lot of action on the inside. I don't know that Lacierva is the one most guilty of anything in there.
And here are these debilitating shots to the side and to the hip by Caballero. Lacierva offers the same thing back.
Caballero has been on the outside less effective than I'm sure his people want him to be. That's the place where he's got to do well with that long height and reach advantage, and he's not doing it. He's letting Lacierva get on the inside like this.
Now perhaps Caballero is waiting and hoping for Lacierva to punch himself out. That was a big overhand right up top by Lacierva. He almost had to leave the ground to issue it. Caballero switching back and forth. missing wildly with the right, missing again with the right and a left. Lacierva gives him a smile and then attacks, and he hit him from behind the back. There was a unique move by Lacierva, a behind-the-back move, and now he drills shots to the body of Caballero.
Well, we thought this would be action-filled and potentially unorthodox, and that is exactly what it's been. It's really the headline in this story is the work rate of Lacierva.
Caballero says, "You're not hurting me, pal." He motioned as if to say, "Bring it on, Jorge. Let's really see what you got." Well, he just unleashed a right uppercut on the inside to the chin of Caballero. Jorge says, "All right, I'll bring it on."
If Lacierva can continue this kind of work rate throughout, he's going to be a handful for Caballero. That is the key issue as we head into these middle and later rounds.
Well, as you pointed out, he had no distractions in training. He got himself in supreme condition. We'll see. Final seconds of round 3. Another impressive one for the challenger, Jorge Lacierva. A little stare down and a push by Lacierva at the bell. Tough kid.
We have lost 3 rounds. We have lost that round. We're losing. You're going to let him rob the fight? You're going to let him steal the fight? Breathe, breathe, deep. Breathe deep. That's it, that's it.
Justifiable concern in the corner of Caballero, and this was an interesting move by Lacierva. He tries kind of a backhand around his back.
So watching Jason Kidd.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy. We're filled with basketball analogies tonight. At the end of the round, they had a few words for each other, and Lacierva with a Roberto Duran-like shove on the side of the head.
Which is ironic since Caballero is from Panama. That was a push, a kick, whatever you want to call it. Lacierva smiling. Lawrence Cole said to Lacierva, "If you do one more thing illegal, I'm going to take a point away. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to start taking points."
One from column A, one from column B.
Unbelievable start to this fight. Round 4.
You know, Lacierva's not really trying to grab the back of the head of Caballero. It's the way their bodies intermix that seems to be creating that. You knew this would be an awkward fight. Now, Lacierva going to lefty briefly, now coming back. We have not seen Caballero switch at all, and that's a little bit surprising.
Well, at some point, he may have to resort to something else, because whatever he's doing now, Al, it ain't working.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Caballero has won 3 of his last 5 fights against lefties. He was convinced he could handle Lacierva when he switched to lefty. But guess what? Lacierva hasn't switched, so he's had some issues.
I don't think he thought that Lacierva was going to be this busy in the ring. He's just firing away, and a lot of those punches are landing.
Now he switches to lefty, Lacierva. And remember, in the keys, we pointed out that, you know, activity was important for Lacierva. That kind of activity tends to freeze Caballero. You know, it's interesting, Caballero in at 122, he walks around at 146 pounds, and of course his frame could handle that. So he makes this weight, though, they say, with ease. He's amazing.
And I know you touched on it, but how about Celso Chavez in Caballero's corner? You lost all 3 rounds.
Very honest appraisal, and they're right to tell their man that, because when you give 3 rounds away, nice little chopping right by Lacierva.
Ooh, Lacierva with slashing punches to the midsection. Just too fast with blinding speed. There's a right hand to the side of the head of Caballero.
And see how Caballero bends in. He creates a lot of this awkward action. He is not fighting tall to take advantage of his size. Now using the jab a little bit, but missing with a wild right hand.
The left hook there upstairs by Caballero. Then he goes downstairs to the body with the right hand.
Now, I think Lacierva is making one mistake, though. He's really not working the body as much as he might, Steve, and I think that's available to him and would help him as his fight wore on.
And that's one of his biggest things, too. And he loves to go to the body.
And it was his mantra coming into this fight. He said that was what he was going to do.
You know what? He's being taken out of his game, out of his rhythm, because he often looks to dictate and initiate and fight. There's a nice long right hand that scored to the head by Caballero. Probably his best punch of the night.
Probably his best round, too.
Absolutely. A little bit better for the champion.
You're doing good. You're doing good. You're okay. This is round 5. This is the way you're supposed to fight him. Hey, you gotta hit with the jab and you gotta tie him up. 2 jabs and then you tie him up. He has done nothing to you. He has done nothing to you. Little air now. Here's a little air. Okay, throw away the water. He does have no velocity.
Al, what makes this even more intriguing, this is a relatively small ring, 18-foot ring. You would think that the 5'11" Caballero would have the advantage in a ring like this.
You know, part of it is that nobody really wants to box exactly here, and Caballero doesn't want to seem to use his height and reach effectively, wants to be on the inside, which is a mistake at this juncture. And now you see how aggressive Caballero is getting, knowing that at this juncture he's got to make some things happen in the fight.
Yeah, he rarely steps back, Caballero, but he's basically just doing a lot of dancing. Meanwhile, what Lacierva is doing is more effective. No pushing off, says Lawrence Cole. They both were guilty of that. But Lacierva is just being too fast for Caballero, although Caballero's starting to come on a little more now.
Now in this round, as in the last, the jab of Caballero has become a very important weapon. And if he would use that standing outside, he'd be in business. A lot of holding by Caballero. Lawrence Cole.
What is going on here?
Letting them go, and Lacierva just blasting him.
Lacierva all over Caballero. Caballero's been down just one time in his career, and Lacierva is trying to make it 2.
You know, in that sequence, Caballero held on to Lacierva. In the tapes we saw him do that a lot, and then he was getting hit while that was happening.
Jason Gonzalez from SweetScience.com, Mark May from local paper The Monitor, Jason McDaniel from the AP.
I have it 39-37, as did 2 of the press row scorers.
Look out for that left elbow by Caballero, and the crowd noticed it too.
You know, it's interesting, he was using his elbow while Lacierva was trying to use his head. It was like dueling fouling going on at the same time.
A foul fest in Hidalgo.
Now there's a big attempt at an uppercut by Caballero. It's a punch that could have an impact in this fight, but this round Lacierva has turned things back in his favor for the most part.
Lacierva continues to score to the midsection and upstairs. Every once in a while he slips in a rabbit punch, tries to sneak one by Lawrence Cole. There's that wicked jab by Caballero. He didn't follow it up though. One and done. There's that jab again, and back comes Lacierva with a right-left coming. Another left hook by Lacierva. Holding and hitting there by Caballero. Caballero spins Lacierva around using his weight, but it's not working. Lacierva continues to be in command.
This is a little ugly, but entertaining.
Very much so.
Step back, break.
Well, the ingredients for that are certainly there, because you got a tall guy and a short guy. You got guys who switch from righty to lefty. They're liable to do anything, and Caballero has that reputation anyway. They continue to go after the bell, and the fun ensued.
Breathe deep. You have 7 rounds to win this fight. We are down in this fight. You have 7 rounds to win the 7 rounds because we're down. This is where you have to fight. Okay?
On the inside, Caballero especially likes to hold. And what he did was he held on thinking everything would stop. Looking at the referee, but Lacierva's not stopping. Lawrence Cole's in bad position to get in, and Lacierva just keeps on banging away. And at the end of the round, when the bell rang, they didn't stop. Lawrence Cole got between them, but we've seen a little bit of that.
They get right to it to begin round 6. The first half of this fight being dominated by the little challenger, Jorge Lacierva, and Celso Chavez in the corner of Celestino Caballero. Let Celestino know it. He said, you got 7 rounds. You're going to have to win all 7.
Now on the outside like this, you see that chopping right hand getting in. Caballero can have his way, but he won't stay there, will he? He won't stay on the outside. He always falls in with his punches or allows Lacierva to get on the inside. And a reminder that that pace, nice jab by Lacierva, that pace Lacierva set over the first 5 rounds was really torrid. Can he continue it over this last portion of this fight?
There has been little or no let-up in the action from the opening bell here.
Yeah, it hasn't been classic, as we'll see in the Vasquez-Marquez fight. 2 men whose, technique is impeccable, but it's been kind of fun. It also demonstrates to some degree the difference in skill level between, let's say, Marquez and Vasquez, way above where most of the rest of the people in their division are.
It's interesting you bring that up because many are saying the winner of this fight could fight the winner of the main event.
And Caballero especially would like to do it. After all, he is a reigning champion.
Look out. With Lacierva's back turn, Caballero took a swipe and missed.
I'm surprised there was no warning from Lawrence Cole. I don't know what exactly he will take points away in this fight for, if in fact he gets to that point.
And this spirited crowd is really into it.
Good jab and a right hand by Caballero. He's had a better round here.
Good body shot with the left there by Caballero. Lacierva, in case you're wondering, has never been on the canvas, pro or amateur. As mentioned, Caballero just once in 28 fights.
Yeah, Caballero knocked out by Rojas a couple years ago.
Jose Rojas in 03, a 3rd round TKO on a left uppercut.
Nice left hook and the head. Blatant use of the head by Lacierva.
Here we go.
Blatant use, and that will get a point deduction.
Yep.
Come here.
I think, yeah. Should.
Yep. Lawrence Cole
You understand? All right, very good.
deducting the point. Living up to his word.
Part of the reason why we're not hearing Lawrence Cole is he did not want to be mic'd for this fight, and so he is not, which, of course, more often than not, the referees are.
I must have super hearing. I heard him. I heard him.
Probably a mic on the side of the ring picked him up.
Final seconds of round 6. Lacierva missing with that overhand right. Well, it's hard to say overhand right against a guy that's almost 6 feet. Almost everything's an uppercut for Lacierva. Let's get it over to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. We have an awful lot of chaos going on back here. Marquez Vasquez here to explain it all is Greg Alvarez of the Texas Commission, the administrator. What happened briefly?
They were complaining about they had stretched the gloves, that they had started tightening them from here and pulled them back. What I saw looked like they started from here, but that was fine.
Marquez was complaining about Vasquez skimming.
Marquez Camp was complaining about Vasquez wrap, but there was no separation in the cotton. The gloves seemed fine, and I okayed it.
And you took off the tape, and now the Marquez people have seen what's gone on, and you've approved this?
Yes, and now the Marquez agreed to it also.
And Marquez will now fight. He was threatening not to.
We're going to fight, but I filed a formal protest with the WBC. I will file one with the Texas Commission as well on the skinning of the gloves.
That's Gary Shaw, the promoter of tonight's fight, co-promoter. Back out to you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Jim. So some controversy here even before the fight starts.
Shaw, by the way, the promoter for Marquez, the Siquan tribe, is Golden Boy works with Israel Vasquez.
Round 7 of this thrilling first fight, scheduled for 12 for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship.
We got a lot going on in this building, all over the place.
Here in front of us, behind us, backstage, a lot of stuff going on. Lacierva once again on the attack, and elbows and forearms pushing off by Caballero. Caballero speaks a little English. He understands. Of course, it's, you know, the language of boxing. Certainly he understands. And Lawrence Cole telling him, don't push anymore or he's going to get a point deducted. And this is worse for Caballero if he gets a point deducted than it is for Lacierva, who should be comfortably ahead.
I want to point out that Lawrence Cole is wearing a microphone. It is on, and we were informed that that had not taken place. But
big right hand by Lacierva. So I don't have super hearing.
No, you don't. But you know, you could be a superhero. Yeah, originally he didn't want to wear it, but then he decided to put it on. So just want to clarify that. I thought you were Steve Austin for a second.
These are chopping shots to the side of Lacierva's body, then an uppercut by Caballero on the inside. But it's very hard to rock Lacierva, who can really take a punch.
And that last round, you know, a big important one, because if in fact Caballero won the round and ends up being a 10-8 round, nice right by Caballero, he's right back in this fight.
Jorge Lacierva, remember this name. From Mexico City originally, makes his home now in Atlanta, Georgia. Rated number 13 by the WBA coming in.
Now you can feel, though, Steve, a change in this fight, and it's similar to the change that occurred in the Carbajal fight that Lacierva had a couple years ago. Even though he's still landing some good punches.
And Caballero looking over to Lawrence Cole, very dangerous. Lacierva jumps all over him. And what a left hand! Momentarily dazed Caballero. And he keeps turning his back. That's not Lacierva's fault.
No.
Caballero just keeps turning his back. He's got to stop doing that.
Just when it looked like Lacierva was losing his steam, he came back, and here comes Caballero. Wow.
Caballero wailing away now. Great back and forth action. Not everything is landing, but a lot of action.
A lot of holding by both men.
Oh, brother.
Over here, over here. Okay, come on. Relax. This is nothing. This is nothing. Let's go. Give him some water. Give him some water.
Well, Lacierva, at a certain point here, lands a short right hand, and Caballero, for some reason, turning to the referee, a little use of the head by Lacierva, which he got deducted a point for earlier in the bout, but coming out with some big punches, and as Caballero keeps turning away from him, he just keeps punching and working the body and the head. So Caballero, though, after that, was able to get his punching distance and land punches, including a nice straight right, an uppercut, and throws in an elbow for good work, for good
measure.
Notice, yeah.
Al, it's not pretty, but it's entertaining. Round 8 scheduled for 12 for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. Look out, Caballero almost touched the canvas, even though he wasn't hurt or anything like that. That could have been ruled a knockdown.
You know, there is that last round was an interesting round, a very, very close round to judge. It could be a pivotal one following that round in which the point was deducted from Lacierva.
A couple of good shots to the head by Caballero. Lacierva just smiled it off.
Stop. Stop.
Lacierva complaining he's getting hit on the top of the head. Some of these punches with more purpose now by Caballero. He senses the urgency.
Why did Caballero cut the distance down himself to get in closer to Lacierva and give him a chance to punch? He should stay on the outside where the jabs and straight right hands can work.
He's totally discombobulated, Al. Very disoriented from the start of this fight. I think he took Lacierva for granted.
Well, he's a very unorthodox fighter anyway, Caballero. Look at here. On the outside, he can do what he wants, Caballero. And Lacierva getting hit with some jabs and right hands as well.
Lacierva, who's just dancing around, he said, and you know what? Lacierva is very mobile. He is fleet of foot. But he thought coming in that he would be perceived as just another opponent by Caballero. And that might be the case.
Now in this round, if nothing changes and it keeps going like this, Caballero could get himself one in his column, because Lacierva's been able to rush him, and for the most part, Caballero's been able to use the jab, see, just keep him at bay and mix in some right hands. And Lacierva making a mistake staying on the outside.
Yeah, he's had his best success rushing in and being on the inside against the long, tall Caballero.
Caballero boxing a little more this round, and Lacierva said before the fight, I don't know if I'm going to see the boxing Caballero, the one that fought Ricardo Castillo, brother of Jose Luis, in his last fight. Boxed beautifully, did Caballero. Didn't get lured in on the inside and won that fight handily. He fought all that fight like he's fighting this round.
The pace has slowed a little bit here, but what a pace it had been up till now. Final seconds of round 8.
Finally, Caballero switches to lefty. Hadn't done it the whole fight.
Let's see if it does him any good, but it was just too late anyway. No time.
Breathe, breathe, breathe in deep. This is what here's what I'm telling you. We are losing by 4 points. Everybody's saying it. We're losing by 4 points. You've got to do something more spectacular than what you're doing. You're losing. I don't know how to tell you.
Strange activity at the beginning of the round. He slipped on the logo, did Caballero, and that often happens with fighters. Good thing he wasn't injured at that juncture. And then the action, of course, continued. And he did what he did there for most of the round, land some right hands and some jabs.
You know what the solution for that is? You take a soft drink. I will not mention the product name. You take a soft drink and you put it on there and you start rubbing it in, and it gives you better traction.
You know what? You're 100% right. I've seen them do that.
The moisture from all the sweat and perspiration.
You should be, they should come to you as a consultant for those matters.
There you go. There you go. But I'll have to consult with you.
You know, Lacierva started out this round. Oh, there he slipped on the logo. He started this round out more like he did other rounds. There he's ripping the body. This is the way Lacierva has to fight in order to win.
Jorge Lacierva in the predominantly green trunks with the American flag and the Mexican flag on the sides is in control of this fight. There's no question about it. If you're just joining us, he's the challenger, rated number 13 against the champion Celestino Caballero, the heralded fighter. And so this is really interesting. Caballero's got to come a long way from back.
Well, you know, I think the fight has gotten a little closer in the last couple of rounds because of the 2-point round for Caballero, and then I thought he won the last round with his jabbing and straight right hands. But I don't know if his corner's right. There's 4 points down, but he probably is a little bit down in this fight. Oh, Caballero is squaring himself up to Lacierva, leaving himself wide open. Let's see if he can take advantage.
One judge, Jason McDaniel from the AP, actually has Caballero ahead.
Well, I'll tell you, I have it 76-75 for Lacierva, so I've only got this a 1-point fight at this point. But
that's all unofficial, obviously. But wow, I think Lacierva is ahead by more. And so does Celso Chavez
Yeah,
in Caballero's corner. They're trying to put a sense of urgency, of course, into that's part cheerleading.
This is a pivotal round as well, because this is one that Caballero has controlled for the most part, but then lost, except for right at the beginning.
Lacierva's lefty now. Very fluid the way he goes back and forth. That's from all that amateur experience. Now he's back to righty. You didn't even realize it.
No, he switches seamlessly. He really does. That's why it's hard to catch him in mid-switch.
And he caught Caballero with both fists. And he pushed Caballero back the legal way.
For a change.
Yes.
This is a round that Lacierva's trying to steal in the last 30 seconds. Okay.
Now Lawrence Cole is warning Caballero to stop pulling Lacierva's head down. And they continue again after that's about the third time that's happened. In that kind of fight.
Here, listen to me. You 1-2, and then you gotta hold them. You have to do it with intelligence. Always alive. You can do it. You can do it. Yes or no? You can do it. This is your fight. Come on. He doesn't want to fight anymore. It's decided. You got to do what you have to do. The World Championship is yours.
Well, if you notice a familiar face in that corner, Jesus Chavez, the former WBC 130 and IBF 135-pound champ, friends with Lacierva for years. Round 10. And Lacierva comes out winging.
Caballero is 2-1 in 12-round fights. Lacierva is 4-3, and a strong talking to.
Getting all over Caballero for holding. And then for some reason Caballero looked over to the crowd. Caballero's head doesn't seem to be in there. Now he pushes Lacierva bodily to the canvas.
What happened?
All right, this, one more. That's your last warning.
One more, he's going to take a point away. And after seeing those unofficial scores, I don't know how the official guys have it, that could be critical.
Point deductions at this point in this fight are important. And I'll tell you, these final rounds are going to be very interesting. Both men, I think, are tired. It will only exacerbate.
Oh, big right uppercut. Big right uppercut from the outside by Caballero. But Caballero with the one and done once again, not following it up. Just a lot of holding and, stamina now coming into play as well.
And, as I was saying, when stamina becomes an issue for fighters whose technique is questionable to begin with, it makes it even more of the case. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
The uppercut by Caballero is becoming a monstrous weapon, and he has hurt Lacierva in this round a lot. And remember, he's got a couple of rounds left to hurt him some more. So if Lacierva is tired, he could fall prey to the power of Caballero.
How about the expression on Caballero's face? Like, show me what you got. Well, he has.
Yeah, so far, I'd say.
The crowd getting behind the Mexican-born Jorge Lacierva. Caballero from Panama. Panama has produced 24 world champions, 8 from Caballero's hometown of Cologne. Of course, Roberto Duran leads the way for Panamanian greats.
Good round for Caballero.
Yeah, able to bounce back. The uppercut doing the damage. for the most part. There's the bell for the end of round 10, so we'll head to the championship rounds. And still to come, our main event, Mexico City's Rafael Marquez, climbing boxing's best pound-for-pound list, won titles in 2 weight divisions, hasn't lost in almost 7 years, always a crowd pleaser, knockout power, on the verge of fighting his most dangerous opponent, former world champion Israel Vazquez, in a rematch of a compelling fight just 5 months ago. Stand by for that. We're near the Mexican border in the tiny town of Hidalgo, Texas, at the Dodge Arena. Steve Albert, along with Al Bernstein, Jim Gray, and Karen Bryant, our entire Showtime crew, for another edition of America's Fight Night. The champion, Celestino Caballero, takes one big, deep breath before heading out for round 11. It has been a tough night for the champion, but not for the challenger, Jorge Lacierva, who has looked impressive.
Well, you know, it's been 8 years, 1999, when Lacierva had a chance against Mark Too Sharp Johnson to win a world title. He's gotten his chance here tonight. He has certainly tried his best and had very, very good moments in this fight. Is it enough to get him the win? We'll see. I could see some really wildly divergent scorecards in this. I actually have this fight a draw right now.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that, you know, I guess when I examine it round by round, I may think I'm an idiot at the end or think I'm okay. But, you know, it just, some of these rounds have gone to Caballero toward the end, and that 10-8 round for Caballero, I thought made a big difference. But I could easily see Lacierva winning this fight, certainly.
If this goes the distance, I can't wait to see the official judges' scorecard.
And Lacierva has been winning the rounds when he was really active. You know, for the most part, he won those rounds.
Yeah, there's no question, though, that Caballero has been coming on of late.
I gave Caballero the 6th, 8th, and 10th rounds. And then, of course, it was a 10-8 round in the 6th. And I had 1 round even.
Take a look at press row scoring. Jason Gonzalez from SweetScience.com has Lacierva up, along with Jason McDaniel from the Associated Press. Mark Bay is the only one. He's from the local paper, The Monitor, has Caballero up a point.
So clearly a close fight as far as the press row folks are concerned, and me as well. We'll find out if the judges agree with this. Now, in this round, Lacierva has made a big mistake in the last 4 or 5 rounds. He's remained on the outside much more than he did earlier in the fight. Remember, earlier in the fight, he was working his way inside with that frenetic pace. He hasn't done that so much, and he's been less active.
There's that slip again by Caballero. Again, they're sliding on the logo on the canvas.
In this round also, I have to say, I think Caballero has been a little bit more effective because he's stayed on the outside, and Lacierva has done less work on the inside.
Right hand got in by Caballero, and Lacierva holding on the inside. Caballero with a slapping right hand.
See, you can't, if you're Lacierva, you can't be on the outside against this man with this big height and reach advantage. There's no way you're going to be able to win there, and that's been the problem. Nice hook on the inside by Lacierva.
Well, Caballero does have a good uppercut that we've, ballyhooed tonight. His money punch is the right hand. Let's see if he unleashes that right with a little more frequency here down the stretch.
When Lacierva goes backwards, he gives this man punching room to use the jab and the right hand and all the rest of it.
Here comes Lacierva. The focus with Israel Vazquez, of course, as he gets ready for Marquez in the main event, is the nose. Will it be a factor tonight? He says it will not, that he is not even thinking about it, but nobody really knows until the fight starts. Remember, he had only 10% ability to breathe out of his right nostril in the original. The left nostril completely blocked. His doctor said, unbelievable that he went 7 rounds under those conditions. What happens if he gets nailed in the schnoz? And last time we checked, Marquez hits pretty hard. The Mexican fans celebrating a possible upset here tonight. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, at the very least, what's happened here is we have yet another competitive fight in which an underdog challenger is making life very difficult for a champion, and that's our mantra here at Showtime Championship Boxing, and it continues.
We said at the outset that Lacierva is a live underdog. Whether he wins, loses, or it's a draw, there's no question that that was the case. And we said the same thing about Joachim Alcine against Travis Sims last show. And look what happened. He upset Sims.
You know, part of the reason we've had a lot of this awkward action, Lacierva himself is a little more of a skilled fighter with technique, but against a big, tall fighter like this who's awkward, it's going to be difficult, and you're going to have some wild action. Now, there's Lacierva getting some good shots in.
Beautiful flurry to the head by Lacierva, and then he finishes off by popping Caballero with a right to the head. Caballero nearly slipped.
I think Lacierva really needs a very good 12th round here, and he's going to have to be on the inside and be active to get it done. He started that in this round.
We thought it was close along press row. You can't get much closer than that.
And I now have Caballero actually up by a point, but you can, that's not much different than a draw.
Wild swing and a miss by Lacierva, almost slipped again on the logo. A chopping right hand to the head, then a little elbow for good measure by Caballero.
I mentioned that Caballero is 2-1 in 12-round fights. Lacierva 4-3. So both have had mixed results when they've gone the distance.
Lacierva is fighting almost as if he knows how close this thing has gotten.
I think he is, and you know, he's just got so much left to try and do these flurries on the inside. He's just not as busy as he was earlier, but he is trying.
And Lacierva making Caballero miss by a lot. The little guy from Mexico City and Atlanta, Georgia, making his two hometowns very proud tonight, no matter what happens.
Both men holding. I think Caballero doing a little bit more of holding in this later part.
A right uppercut on the inside. Back comes Lacierva, but then he slipped at the end of a punch. Missing with a wild left hook attempt is Lacierva.
Very, very, very close 12th round.
Final 30 seconds of the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. It's been entertaining, if nothing else. Not right out of the textbook for sure. They may not put this one in the time capsule in the clinic for watching boxing, but certainly fun to watch. And there it is. The bell to end it. So the crowd is hoping and wishing and waiting that the decision goes to this man, the Mexican-born Jorge Lacierva, as we are just minutes away from the Mexican border. Caballero is from Colón, Panama. And the crowd favorite all night long was, of course, Lacierva. Well, Caballero doesn't seem to look too worried.
As we look at the last round, it's kind of this fight in microcosm. Lacierva early on in the round with the aggressiveness that we saw early in the fight. And that was exactly the kind of activity that froze Caballero early in the bout, created this kind of holding by Caballero. So that mirrored what was at the beginning of this fight. Then we had the slip that was created because of the mat, which we had several times during the course of this fight.
Well, let's hope they clear that up before the main event. You don't want to see that.
That's a very good point, Steve.
Well, what's going to happen next? Our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr., is ready with the official decision. Let's get it up to Jimmy.
Ladies Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards with a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Levi Martinez, scores about 115 to 112. Judge Rafael Romo scores about 116 to 111. And Dr. Ruben Garcia sees about 116 to 110. All three in favor of the winner. And still
I just don't get those scores, Al. I do not get those scores. That's crazy.
Well, the margin is what sends off warning signals. You could make a case for a 2-point win for Caballero for sure, or could, but 116-111, 116-110 is, I think, what probably prompts people to wonder, because so many of those early rounds, Lacierva had to win them because he was aggressive, and even in Caballero's corner, they were saying he was behind it, and all of that wasn't just to motivate Caballero. Right. So clearly, in terms of the margin, I think it's hard to justify a couple of those scores.
And it just goes to show you once again, over and over and over, how tough it is to take the title away from the champion on points. Let's get it up to Jim Gray in the ring. Jim?
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Celestino, congratulations. Felix de Jesus will once again interpret for us. Did you feel as though this was a closer fight than the scores had indicated?
¿Tú pensaste que iba a ser una pelea más cerrada de lo que indicaron los jueces?
Bueno, gracias a Dios ante todo por esta gran victoria. Y pienso yo que me merecía. Un tipo sucio totalmente. Los golpes no eran tan efectivos. Claro, me conectó. Gracias a Dios. No sentí ni un golpe de él. Por eso que estaba cogiendo la cosa con calma. Y como puede ver, él quedó con la cara toda hinchada y yo no tengo signo de golpe.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank for the decision, he says, and you know, he says that the fighter's a dirty fighter, so that he felt he won the fight.
Dirty fighter. What, did he give you more trouble than you had expected?
¿Él te dio más problemas de lo que tú esperabas?
Sí, vino bien preparado, respeto eso. Me siento muy orgulloso de esta gran pelea contra Jorge Lacierva. Es como se dice, un veterano de guerra muy bueno.
He's a veteran of wars, and I respect him as a fighter. He did a great job tonight.
Was it awkward for you to fight him, because it didn't seem as though neither of you really could get on track with all of the holding and with all of, you know, seemingly kidney punches and all the breaks that the referee, Lawrence Coles, had to step in to do?
Fue difícil comenzar a pelear tu estilo debido a que había tanto agarre y todo eso de parte de Lacierva.
Claro que sí, ya que como dice, cuando me agarraba y me daba golpe en la espalda totalmente, en la nuca, y ya el árbitro había dado la indicación en los camerinos que no se podía pegar ahí. Y bueno, solo Dios sabe lo que pasa. Yo traté de hacer lo mejor que pude, llamarle la atención para que se diera cuenta, pero ni caso me hizo, pero de todas maneras el referee hizo lo que él podía.
Of course, he said it was tough because he was hitting me behind the back and the neck, and it was hard to get for me to get on track the way he was fighting me. He was fighting me dirty today.
Let's bring in Jorge. Did you agree with this decision this evening?
Of course not. I think, I don't know. He was just hitting me with the elbow, headbutt. He was holding me. While he was holding me, he was hitting him in the head. He was hitting him in his body, everywhere. And the referee never took the dodging of him. He was, you know, all the time pushing me, like holding me. And one time he took a point away from me. Correct. So I don't know. I just came here to do my job, and I don't know what the judges saw. But I think, I mean, he's a typical fighter. He gave me a couple of fouls, and the referee never took a point, or not even just a warning, you know. So I don't know. You know, all the crowd, they were, you know, agree with me. When they heard the decision, everybody was, you know, protesting.
Jorge, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Now, well, I just want to say hi to my family in Mexico, my brother and everybody. I'm sorry, but it wasn't my fault, you know. He's not a great champion, you know. He's just like a difficult guy. That's what he is.
Thank you. What now will you do watching this main event? Watching the main event, would he like to take on the winner, and does he feel he's up to the caliber of the next two guys that we'll see?
¿Tú crees que tú puedes pelear con los próximos dos que vamos a ver en esta pelea, a Márquez y a Vázquez?
Claro que sí, ellos son más peleadores, les gusta la fineza, Márquez y Vázquez son peleadores finos. Este me jugó mucho sucio. Bueno, yo traté de yo puedo hacerlo, se lo dije, pero sé que estaba en este
he's saying that
estado.
they're both more finesse fighters in Marquez and Vasquez, and that the fight today was a little more dirty, so that he can fight a more finesse fight with these guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations to you. All right, back to you, Steve.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. A rough physical fight. I can't agree with the margins of victory, but I'll tell you what, as you take a look at the judges' scores, I just don't understand Dr. Ruben Garcia. He had a 116-110 for Caballero, and how about Rafael Ramos, who had a 116-111?
Well, you know, I scored a 115-113 for Caballero because of the way he came on in the last part of the fight. But I do think that margin is pretty big for him because that's giving Lacierva no credit for early in the fight.
And along press row, the panel of judges, they all had Caballero winning, but more realistic scores.
Oh, that's what I think, yeah.
114, 113 all across the board. So Caballero could get a shot at the winner of tonight's main event. But of course, if Vasquez wins, there could be a trilogy with Marquez, and those do not come along very often. Caballero improves to 27-2. Lacierva, unsuccessful in his second world title attempt, first in 8 years, falls to 32-7-6. Let's go to